In this video, I get stranded in the Middle East, relax in an Air India lounge less than a day before one of their planes crashed, and on a brighter note, get a free upgrade. This is Delta Flight 234 to Tel Aviv. So, at this point in time, I've gone through security, and, well, this is JFK Terminal 4. I think I'm going to wander around for a bit. There's not really much for me to do here that I don't already know about. I've been to this terminal a bunch of times. But unlike the last time I was here, I do have priority pass. So I think I'm going to start off by finding, I guess, the Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse is probably a good place to start. And if not, there's a few other options of lounges that I have the ability to access. So let's keep going. As stated in the intro, I ended up getting stranded in the Middle East thanks to this flight. I'm taking Delta Flight 234 from New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport to Israel's Ben Gurion International Airport, just outside of Tel Aviv. Past me doesn't know it yet, but I was about to get a lot more than I bargained for with this trip. It's probably been years since I have been on the, I guess the A-gate side of this terminal, because that's where you usually have a lot of the big international flights. Not even fully, like for other airlines that is, obviously. Oh, okay. So my flight is at B38, and it boards at 2:40. The time is currently 1:46, so I have plenty of time. I've heard quite good things about the Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse, but unfortunately, it was closed. I could have waited a bit for it to open, but I decided to just use the Air India Maharaja Lounge located across the hallway. Hello, I have priority pass. Thank you. And here we are now in the Air India Lounge. I smelled some really good Indian food, so that's why I decided to come here. I got to enjoy a great view of an Etihad A380 while in the lounge. The meal options available were fine. They had admittedly subpar pita bread, butter chicken, some vegetarian options, fruit, cold cuts, some cookies and bread, rice, and some canned sodas. 1 mile at a time gave it a less than stellar review, and I'll admit, the lounge was a bit smaller than I was expecting. It's important to keep in mind, though, that when the alternative is sitting next to a gate and overpaying for a meal somewhere else in the terminal, I really can't complain about free food and a good view. So, I am now leaving the Air India Lounge. That was great. And it does look like now the Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse is open, but I'm not going because I have a flight to catch. While I was in there, I did get a notification that my flight has been delayed for 25 minutes. I'm not fully sure why yet, so it's time to go to my gate and find out. My flight ended up being the last Delta flight to reach Tel Aviv before the recent war with Iran began. The next day's flight, along with all other then airborne aircraft heading to Israel, had to either turn around or divert along the way. Since then, Delta has once again suspended all flights to and from Israel, currently scheduled to last until the end of August. Here's the entrance to the Delta One Lounge, exclusive to passengers flying in Delta One or a partner airline's equivalent international business cabin. You'll be seeing more than just the entrance soon, so stay tuned for that. If my memory suits me correctly, which it usually does, at least in 2013 and 2016, and I know that's a crazy long time ago considering it's now 2025, I am fairly certain that up there used to be the El Al King David Lounge. So I'm actually not certain if they still have a lounge at JFK. if the Delta One lounge is now up where it used to be.
After this trip, I did some research, and I can confirm that El Al no longer has a King David lounge at this airport. And seemingly indicative of their ever-growing ties with SkyTeam Airlines, their business class and higher status holding passengers are given access to the Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse instead. I noticed these balloons next to gate B34 and remember wondering what they were for. Well, while scrolling through the Delta News Hub webpage, I found an article which revealed that they were part of a celebration for Delta's inaugural flight from JFK to Sicily.
Okay, here we are at gate B38. And the pilots for my flight are right here, so I guess now I'm gonna ask them if they've got any trading cards.
I got that trading card and a few more. Unfortunately, my flight ended up getting a 1 hour and 20-minute delay. Some discussion with the gate agents made it sound like the aircraft had a compounding delay from the previous flight, but I'm not too certain if that is correct, considering the data says that flight actually arrived 6 minutes ahead of schedule. Either way, the delay was long enough for a gate agent to tell another passenger that he could go back to the lounge. After a while of waiting and getting something to drink, it finally seemed like boarding would soon start.
So, I just took out the camera again. I was about to say that the boarding time or the departure time had just been changed on the Delta app to 5 p.m. And as I was getting ready to say that, they just announced that pre-boarding is starting. So yay, finally. It seems that we're gonna be boarding my flight soon, so let's get going soon.
While waiting those last few minutes, I noticed that a Bluetooth device connection prompt kept appearing on the screen at the gate. It wasn't much, but I got a kick out of it.
Not sure why, but I just got handed a new boarding pass, even though it's the same seat that I already had a pass for.
I'm finally on my way down to the aircraft for today's flight. November 415 Delta X-Ray is a 2-year-old Airbus A330-900neo, delivered new to Delta on October 27th, 2022. Delta's A330-900neos are a very new addition to their fleet, and alongside their older non-neo siblings, form the basis of Delta's transatlantic and South American high-capacity fleet. With an average of 58 additional seats present on board compared to Delta's Boeing 767s, these aircraft are perfect for Delta's international high-traffic airport service. New York to Tel Aviv is actually the exact example they give on their website for the type of route on which you are likely to see the 900neo deployed. Delta has these aircraft equipped with 29 Delta One lie-flat business class seats, 28 premium select seats, 56 Comfort Plus seats, and 168 main cabin or economy class seats. I'm in Comfort Plus today thanks to a free upgrade, specifically seat 32B. While I was able to select an aisle seat, I'm a bit annoyed with the Fly Delta app and their notification system. I never got a notification or email that I had received an upgrade, and only thanks to randomly checking the app the night before my flight did I see that I'd received an upgrade. I'm sure that had I found out sooner, I may have had a chance to get a window seat like I'd originally booked in main cabin. The pre-flight safety video was the same as I've experienced elsewhere on Delta's fleet this year, celebrating their 100th anniversary. We pushed back as the video played, and started taxiing towards runway 13 right. My seat was comfortable enough for the flight. It was clean, definitely cleaner than the CRJ and Boeing 717 aircraft I'd recently been on. Comfort Plus seats on this aircraft have a width of 18 inches or 46 centimeters and a seat pitch of 34 inches or 86 centimeters. Unlike the tray tables present on Delta's Airbus A350s, these do not double fold. Just over 20 minutes after takeoff, the flight attendants began their beverage service. It was nothing fancy, with the same paper cups used in main cabin. Around 40 minutes after that, they came around for the second beverage service and the meal service. Here are the menu options we were given for this flight. I pre-ordered the Chipotle chicken and was quite happy with it. For economy airline food, it was pretty good. The cucumber and tomato salad was also good, but there was nothing special about it whatsoever. From this point on, I just finished my meal, watched some episodes of Jet Lag, the game, and did my best to fall asleep. Yeah, that didn't go too well. I got at most an hour, maybe an hour and a half of sleep. I mostly just sat there with my eyes closed trying to fall asleep, and eventually I just went back to watching Jet Lag. Don't get me wrong, the seats are fine, but it's just hard to sleep on a plane in this type of seat.
Good morning. I don't know how much sleep I got, but hour 22 minutes left on the flight, and 615 miles. It's currently, check, it's currently 2:18 a.m. back in New York, but I don't feel that tired right now, at least. Food is being served, some sort of light breakfast. We'll find out what it is. Appears to be a fruit bowl and a egg and cheese calzone along with some Greek yogurt. Yeah, flight's almost over. It's been good so far. I probably barely slept during the flight. Seat's not very comfortable to sit on, even with a seat cushion an inflatable seat cushion that I have. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really expect to get much sleep, but I tried at least. It sucks being in Comfort Plus, because if you want to get in-flight snacks, the snacks that you can get are only way in the back of the plane, so you have to walk all the way back without tripping over people.
Before working on this part of the video, I had completely forgotten I'd even gone to the rear galley to get snacks at one point during the night. If I remember correctly, it was mostly just some crackers and Biscoff that they had available in a basket. I think that after going back there, I decided to not do so again, as I didn't want to have to avoid tripping over people's legs as I squeezed through the aisle to get to the rear galley.
But yeah, I'm gonna keep working on my breakfast, keep watching some Jet Lag the game. Yeah, I couldn't be honest with that. Was it? The calzone wasn't very good.
We were soon entering Israeli airspace. Israeli aviation law requires that all passengers be seated by the time the aircraft is 60 nautical miles from the airport. This is to ensure that no one is in a position to cause a problem in the cabin during landing. You may think this is overbearing, but I'll let Israel's outstanding record of preventing aircraft hijacking and hostage situations speak for itself here.
What sucks about this is like exactly where I sit. This is where when I do the placements, in terms of the way the window just exactly lines up with the seat and the view you get of the wing and the engine. The one problem is I'm in the aisles.
There's nothing necessarily bad about an aisle seat, especially on shorter flights, but at the risk of repeating myself, I wish that I'd had the opportunity to select a Comfort Plus seat sooner after being upgraded, or, in other words, that Delta had actually notified me of the upgrade. Plus, this was definitely not a short flight. Overall, I'd say this was a good flight. By no means was it an international business class or premium economy seat, but you get what you pay for.
And with that, we're parked. So, getting off the plane now in Tel Aviv. Okay, here I am in Israel now. Now to figure out where we're heading in the airport, customs, and then after that, I've got a train to catch. So, let's get going.
Like I said, I got what I paid for, but not just in terms of the seat. The pricing for flights to Israel is kind of crazy. On one hand, you have El Al, which price gouges and charges around $2,500 US round trip. But what you're paying for there is the security of knowing your flight is less likely to be canceled due to conflicts in the region. Then you have the rest of the world's carriers, who can and will cancel on a whim, just like Delta did for my return flight after Iran started launching missiles at Israel nightly. To be clear, United and many other airlines also canceled flights to Israel, but Delta won't resume flying here until the end of August. United, on the other hand, resumed flights to Israel on July 21st. Due to the cancellation of my return flight, I had to rebook. Delta didn't just cancel their own flights, they also canceled their code shares on any flight going into or out of Israel, which meant I couldn't rebook through Delta onto an El Al nonstop flight. Instead, I had to rebook onto an Air France itinerary with a layover in Paris, as Air France was the first Delta partner to resume flights to Israel. Keep your eye out for my videos about those two flights.
So, if I haven't already said it, good morning and Boker Tov. Okay, so after like a half an hour wait, if not more, I am through customs and heading over to baggage claim 5 to get my suitcase, which I'm pretty sure came out ages ago at this point. So that was Delta flight 234 from New York's JFK to Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion International Airport. And I'm now making my way to customs now that I've got my bag. And then I've got a train to catch and some breakfast to find, or a late lunch. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video, I guess. And I dropped my bag.